Good morning to the world. It's 6 a.m. in Portland and it's raining. I just woke up. Don't mind my voice. Of course, I haven't spoken yet, so sometimes I make my first video and I'm like, but I've had my shower and my coffee and I'm getting ready for the day. And each morning I have some various thoughts that go through my head, and I had someone mention that they about these dark videos that I make. I wanted to point something out about these because most people prefer to see a person's face when they're talking, and I wanted to point out why I do these. It's because when I'm doing a particular animated subject or I need to get a point across and I want people to see me and really hear me, I speak to the camera, and I try to as often as I can. But when I'm talking about a wondering subject or something that I'm going to be pondering as I'm talking, I prefer to be outside looking at nature and not with the camera. On top of that, I also have the fact that I have, my wife and kids are in there all the time, and it's hard to find a quiet moment during the day. And the third reason is because I just woke up and I don't even want to be seen. So if that makes sense. But this video is going to be pondering the idea of walking in other shoes. But it was just kind of a little metaphor that I thought up just a minute ago I wanted to share, which was that we talk about getting our feet wet, trying something new, and you can't get your feet clean until you get your feet wet. And nobody's going to let you walk in their shoes until your feet are clean. So you got to get your feet wet to walk in someone else's shoes. And I think that works pretty well. You can't just look at a person and say, this is how they must feel, or this is, the reason why they're this way. You have to actually immerse yourself in that culture or in that person. I guess the perfect example would be the video I made yesterday about racism. I didn't mean to obviously get into personal, educational and semantics about what's right and what's wrong, or what a particular culture should be doing. But it's easy to do from my standpoint, just because I am who I am. So I'm honest enough with myself to admit that and say that, sure, I live in a different culture than other people that I'm talking with, and I understand that. But it's always been an important issue for me to really put myself in someone else's shoes to try to understand that as best as I can. And when we're living our day-to-day life, it's hard because you can't just step out of being a carpenter, let's say, and move to another country and see what it's like to live there. You can, but even if you're able to do that for a year for each country, you're going to be dead long before you get even halfway through. There are so many different cultures we don't understand. And it's really easy for us to point the finger at other people. Now, imagine this. The people from the South who may have been offended by my comments about Southerners, imagine some of the Southerners, let's say, for example, that I've heard say the same things about the Middle East. Now, since the Middle East is a far and distant land, it's easy to generalize and just say, oh, bomb those sand niggers, which I've heard so many times. And I remember when the Iraq War started, I heard people saying, oh, just blow up the Middle East. And I was like, what are you talking about? I mean, do you even understand? I guess the perfect example would be right after the Iraq War started. I was at a bar with my friend, and he worked there. He was a bartender, and we were watching the TV as the first bombs fell on Iraq, and I was like, there's a tear falling down my cheek in the bar. I was just like, I was so upset. I was like, you have no idea where this is going to go. This is going to turn into a long-ass, drawn-out war. A lot of people are going to die. And he said, no, it'll be over quickly. He said, we'll just nuke them. And about a week later, I was talking with him, and he said, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Before this war started, I didn't even know that they had paved highways in Iraq. He said, I didn't even know they had buildings in Iraq. I thought it was all just desert and huts. This is coming from an educated guy who went to school and learned the same things I did. But he chose not to get his feet wet, to really look at culture, to really walk in another's shoes, or to even look at the way other people live. So it's easy for us to sit here and say, that we shouldn't cast an insult on other parts of our own country, let's say, but it's okay for us to say that we can say the same things about other countries, and there are these very blurred lines of division between people and their beliefs, people and what they think others are like. And I guess I just wanted to say that it's really important for us to see it through the eyes of another, and I really do try. I guess for an example with the racism thing, I understand that if you grow up in a culture where you're around a lot of black people and you're a white person and you feel like you're being, subjugated or, picked at, that you're going to retort because of that. And that's just the world we live in. I understand that. It's raining out here pretty good. Well, as I sit here and sip my coffee, I know that I can go back into my nice warm house when I'm done here and go about my day however I wish. And the only thing that really matters is my perspective on it. And everything in my life that I've done to make myself happier has been through a change of perspective. So my perspectives aren't always correct, nor are they always accurate, but they're mine. So I do the best I can. Just a human. The wind's picking up, the rain's picking up, so I'm going to head inside, and y'all have a great day. And try to walk in someone else's shoes for the day. See what it's like. It ain't easy. Peace out.